We're standing on the edge of time.
Hello, this is Wil, your werewolf speaking, and this is Werewolf the podcast. Today's exciting adventure will be when a werewolf was captured by Satanists. I sit at the centre of a darkened circle, in a darkened room, in the dark. It must be very dark because my light sensitivity as a werewolf means I don't need a whole lot of light to see. Let's put it this way. It's fucking dark. Oh, I am in my big bad werewolf form as well, a very frightening thing to be seen by anyone. A big black beastie with big teeth and even bigger claws. I am, I have to admit, a little befuddled and discombobulated at this moment, because not so long ago I was running through the woodland in the chase after a young fallow deer doe. She had been skittish and good sport. Her small size allowed her to jinx her way through the undergrowth without any loss of speed. She was slotting her way through the bushes and trees like a slotty thing. On the other hand, I had to charge and batter my way through the same bushes to keep up with the hunt. I'd lost her a few times to find her silent and still. Only my exceptional sense of smell offered me her hiding place. It had been a long but exciting chase, and she had finally been in reach of my snapping jaws when the world around me collapsed into me and all went black. Again. It's crap when this happens, and it seems to happen a lot. As my world collapsed around me, I let out the mighty prayer. Oh shit, why the fuck now? As my eyes adjusted, I was at the centre of a circle which was at the centre of a star marked on a cold, hard concrete floor. The floor had not made my introduction to this new place a nice introduction, as I felt I had fallen onto it from some great height. The star, as I overly mentioned, was in a darkened room. Have I said it was dark? Somehow the walls of the room were not visible, although I knew that they were incredibly close, as though they were somehow hidden from my view. My mind slowly settled from the discombobulation. Sorry, I just needed to use that cool word again. And I noticed the circle was a white chalk line on the floor, as was the star. The chalk lines weirdly fluoresced in the light of black candles that had black flames. How did you get black flames? They were black flames, though. But my senses realised that the lines had been drawn using bone ash, not chalk. I'd smelt it before, many times. The large black guttering candles were at the points of the star. No, it wasn't a star as you drew it when you were a kid. What's it called? It's a pentagram, that's the one. The smell that hung in the air was burnt sage and fat. Oh, the candles were made out of human fat. Yet, on a secondary deep sniff, I recognised human fat. I knew weird, and this was it. I lived in weird, but this was a bit more weird than usual weird, to be honest. Okay, what the f is going on? Outside the circle there was a movement, but it was blurred, and I could not fix it by smell, sight or hearing. There was a definite movement though, and a susurration of voices moaning and mumbling, some dirge in harmony with one another, or almost in harmony. The sound made my fur crawl and feel a little bit sick, to be honest. It was no natural sound, or should I say, it shouldn't be a natural sound. I sat in my werewolf form in the centre of the circle, trying to work out what to do now. I still could not penetrate the outer circle's darkness, which was properly annoying me. What was the point in having all these extra senses if you could not do shit with them? Then a voice, as though from miles away and seemingly somewhat speeded up, spoke out.
"Avast ye, dark demon."
I guess it spoketh. It was squeaky and annoying, with a thick, brummy Birmingham accent, so thick it sounded like it had been laid on with a trowel. I looked around the circle and then at the figure that was speaking to me from beyond the circle. It was robed, and its face was hidden in a deep, dark hood. No, it's not a hood, is it? I think in this case we would call it a cowl. Yeah, a cowl. Cowl sounds about right to me if cowl means a big black hood thing.
Avast ye, dark demon, ye hast been summoned to us. Do our bidding.
The voice rose in tempo and volume as it sort of got to the end of this statement. I stared at the figure and tried to focus on it. It was as though I was looking at it underwater, or, looking at it with the feeling when you are drunk and the room spins. It was worse. It was like when you close your eyes and it gets worse that the room is spinning. It felt like looking at it like that. I don't know. I tried to focus on my other senses. I tried to focus my other senses on it. No clue at all about what the fuck it was my conclusion. This was definitely going to be an interesting new adventure for me.
Oh, we subjugate thee to our's will fiend,
it yelled once more. Well, I think it cried, or it yelled. It was a strange, screechy voice. It seemed odd. Must be the magical thing causing it to sound like that, hopefully. I was flummoxed, very confused as to what was going on. So I tried to take my human form to be better able to communicate, but this wasn't allowed. Something stopped me in my attempts to split from my wolf soul Fen. Fen, who was now rallying around in my head as confused as I was, and he really fucking wanted out. Okay, I have to go through this almost every podcast. Fen is my werewolf soul. He is a separate bit from me. He is like a ghost invisible to all but me and communicates with me through telepathy. When we are a werewolf or wolf, he combines with me in a very unremarkable manner to form either creature. Now, as you may know, well maybe not, werewolves don't have a great ability to speak due to our voice boxes being a cross between a wolf and a man. It really does not help in our articulation of speech, but I thought I'd try.
Okay, I croaked. What the fuck is going on?
Avast ye,
shouted the robe.
Avast ye, demon, avast ye.
Okay, I'm not a demon, but I definitely feel avasted. I'm a werewolf, not a demon,
I tried to say, pointing up and down at myself.
No demons here, I'm afraid. I think you must have summoned the wrong thing. Maybe you got the spiritual number wrong or something. Is it like mobile phones? Can you get the demonic number wrong?
The robe deflated a little and looked as consumed in thought as a black robe can possibly look. It raised its hand above its head and pointed both of them in my direction. Purple lightning crackled around its fingers as it postulated and posed in a utterly non-convincing manner. All of the sparkles on the fingers were fabulous. I mean, it was convincingly all magical and all that stuff. 1980s disco gay.
Oh, you tryest to trick us, thou worm. I missed with confounding litany. Healthborn, you're a demon. If you do not do my bidding, I will do as nastiest things to you,
came the voice from the darkened hood. Cowl thing. I smiled at what was happening and scratched my face with an extended middle-fingered claw, doing that childish thing of giving him the middle finger without him noticing. The confidence was oozing out of this robe and being replaced by a severe lack of confidence.
As a nasty demon, should I worry about nasty shit? I mean, is that not like my thing, nasty shit and stuff? I thought that is what us demons do and all, deal with, like nasty shit. Am I supposed to like that?
The robe became silent and it quickly looked to its left and shrugged its shoulders, talking to someone or something else outside my notice. I could not hear the words, but even I could sense the level of confusion hidden in that cowl. Weird how I could not hear what the fuck it was saying. A book came out of nowhere and was passed to him out of the gloom, and he looked through pages and stopped at one and ran a finger very angrily over it.
Thou'st, look, nothing like the demon succubus Lucanstape.
There was a long pause.
Although I knoweth she can taketh any form a mortal man wanteth, any form he wants. But I don't know of any of us who wanted thee in this form, demon. Ist.
Another long pause as a hand was taken into the hut's darkness in thought.
Brother Bynum.
No reply.
Brother Bynum.
The robe raised its voice, still no reply.
Dave!
It screamed.
Yeah?
Came from the darkness.
You've got them weird furry fetishes, is it you're doing?
What? No. Came from the darkness outside the circle once more. Obviously, Brother Dave had some furry issues. I thought for a bit, trying to work out what was being said. Okay, I was being held by Satanists, demonologists, or by something in a secured magical circle. I seem to remember the succubus was one of those demons that well, doesn't she screw people to death or something? I think it's supposed to be a female demon form that seduces people with their sexual wiles or something like that. I wondered why they wanted a sex demon under their control. Then I realised the fucking obvious. That it was someone who wanted to do a lot of demonic fucking. There was something weird here. I mean, weirder than weird. Nothing was right, but something was really not right. It was the voice I was listening to. There was something strange about that voice. It wasn't a man. It was a young boy. A teenager at the very most. Obviously, it was at that stage of its life where it had constant hard-on and a dream of touching another person's fuzzy bits. This was doing my head in, so it was time to do some fucking killing now. Sitting in the circle was somewhat less than amusing, so I thought I would just step out of it and sort it all out with a bit of ultra-violence. Instead of talking it through, I would tear everyone up and do some killing things. So I leapt. It was a mistake. I launched my leap through the circle's circumference directly at the robe, who instinctively flinched away. I slashed with claws and a bit with teeth and waited for them to tear into juicy flesh. They missed, and it did not end in a bloody manner. I just ended up somehow back in the circle. I went through one invisible wall to be back in the circle from the opposite wall. Well, that's shit. Just to check, I poked my claw out the circle to see if it would come through the rear of the circle, as though it looped on itself. And it did. It was weird. I waggled my fingers, and the hand that stuck out of nothingness was doing the same. Well, this is a further conundrum. I sat again, tapping my talons rhythmically on the cold, hard floor, thinking how on earth I was going to get out of there and fuck up their day. There had to be a way. The robe now got itself up off the floor and dusted itself down and set its hood straight again. I did not need to see the thing in the robe to know that it was now feeling smug. It knew it had the power balance. Shitbags.
I told the steward, Dark One, that you're trapped in that mercy of our women once. He will provide us with the things we wish, or we will dismiss you back to the nether regions of hell. I demand that you retake your ethereal form, succubus. We want to see you as you should be. Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha!
It laughed, a practised dark baddie laugh, I think, which, as you could hear, was a bit pants. But I smiled as it ended in a coughing fit.
I bet you do, you bunch of little pervs, I said and smiled. I'm not this succubus thing that you think I am. I'm a werewolf, not a demon.
And then I had to think a little.
Although, I'm not sure if a werewolf is a demon. Maybe I am. Not sure, to be honest. I don't think that I'm a sex demon that you want, though. I mean, I'm pretty good at sex and things, but I think you guys are trying to summon the feminine, big-breasted, debauched woman type thing, not a wolf-type person, male person. Although, I would love to have this conversation with, Dave, was it? He sounds like he's got a serious dark side that could be fun to hear about.
Suddenly, the robed figure became 3, road figures, and they huddled together as whispers and heated discussion was held between the empty hoods. I could not hear what was being said, even with my exceptional hearing, so I sat and waited, clattering my claws on the concrete floor and waiting for the conversation to end.
Well,
Came back at me in a much more high-pitched voice than the usual Rose voice.
well,
The voice had changed back to its deeper tone.
thou musteth be a demoneth, as this castigation of demons is a summoning from the black of black summation.
I replied. I am a werewolf, is that a demon? And do you mean the casting of demons or the summoning? I mean, castigation means torture. Oh, I see what you little purrs were going to do. You were going to BDSM a demon, babe. You are filth, and I like it a lot.
The hooded heads again came together and then quickly split again, and the voice returned.
We are not so sure. Were you taken from the many planes of hell to beeth here?
No, actually, I was in a stretch of woodland just out Edsall in Scotland, mate. If it was hell, then it's a different idea than I've ever imagined. Very pretty, to be honest.
Again the heads came together, and they all now looked into a book between them. The book looked old and leather-bound and was probably one of those amazing-smelling things you get in those crazy old bookshops. I mean, it did not look satanic or anything, bound in the hide of humans or anything. It looked like, well, an old book that you could get from anywhere, like Cancer Research or Oxfam. It'd be great if they got it from, the bargain kind of... Anyway, sorry, I'll carry on. I could hear them quickly read through it and check that they had done everything right. They seemed to be going over the whole of the demon summoning right in fast forward, checking the book and nodding with where they were at. Then they suddenly stopped, and one of them went a little bit mental. He threw back his hood and started madly gesticulating and pointing at the other robe. The face that was shown was not the face I imagined of a full-on demonologist at work. He was about 14 and 15 and had a shit black beard. The beard needed a lot more testosterone in its life to be worthy of beard stayers. He was sallow and spotty and had many chins that were not hidden by his bum fluff that he hoped made him look older. A boy that spent too much time on his computer in a dimly lit room wanking over niche tentacle pornography, I should imagine. He was probably the furry, which was worrying. Suddenly he pushed one of the other robes and gesticulated at me. I could now read his lips. You messed up. You said it wrong. You fucking prick. I read from his frantic gob and the finger that he was ramming into the chest of the other robe. The pushed robe looked somewhat deflated, and reading his robe body language was trying not to show angry embarrassment. I tried to butt in.
Sorry, is there any way I can help?
The face I could now see turned to me.
He read the wrong name out,
he said, pointing at the other person with his thumb. Now they stood looking at me in somewhat of an angry pose.
Oh,
I said.
What was the name you said then?
The bristling face turned to the deflated robe and said,
Damon, you tell him what you said.
The robe, now labelled as Damon, turned towards me with as much shame as a black-shadowed robe can have. He looked at the floor and drew a semicircle with his toe on the floor.
Well, I think I said lycanthrope instead of Lukenstape. I was watching Underworld Blood Wars last night and it just sort of happened. Would you mind going back and getting the other one, please? Sorry if we bothered you and stuff. You see, Lukenstape is this sex demon from the 14th century who fulfills any man's, any sexual desire that they want. All they have to do is give part of their soul for it, and to be honest, it can have my whole soul if it'll touch my dick.
His eyes met mine and he smiled. As you can imagine, I wasn't ready for this and did not know how to react. I needed some time to process what had just happened and then work out where to go with it.
I will be honest, you little deviants. I've no idea who the lady is that you desire. I really did not...
Oh God, this is hurting my voice.
Really did not know that there were things like demons. However, nothing surprises me these days, to be honest. You see, it's quite difficult to dismiss shit when you're a mythic creature yourself. But sorry, I haven't got a clue what to do. I seem stuck in this bubble you made. Can I get out? Or what?
All the hoods came down now, as they all seemed to have lost the want to be in this ritual anymore. They all now looked at each other in silence, eyes flicking from one to the other as they obviously all sat in thought. Dave was busy looking through the book and thinking, while the other two just looked a little abjectly, a little lost as what to do next. I met eyes with one of them as he met mine. He became embarrassed and took on an apologetic air. His hair was long, greasy and ginger, and his face was freckled and long. He was formulating some words, changed his mind, and went for the small talk of all things.
Also, where were you before then?
He said in a mid-puberty squeaking, cracking voice.
As I said, I was in Woodland up in Scotland, a little area near Edzell. You heard of Edzell?
No,
was the shaken head reply.
No,
he said more quietly, removing his eyes from mine. But then he rallied.
Was it nice? I've never been to Scotland myself, but my dad lived near Evermore for a bit. He said it was beautiful.
I didn't reply. I just couldn't be bothered. I was just waiting for the other two to finish their hurried conversation and find out what the fuck would happen next. After a while, the other two teens stopped and one of them stepped forward and spoke.
Right, we will be honest. We tried to send you back. It did not work, so we don't know what to do. We can release you from the sanctity of the circle here and let you go on your way as a werewolf, but to be honest, we're a little bit worried that you might hold a grudge against us and hurt us in some scary way. Our other choice is just to leave you in there forever and ever and ever.
Well, that one was a fucking choice that I couldn't have, wasn't it? That wasn't an option. So I had to think pretty fast. I thought, there has to be more than this to it. Maybe I am somewhere that they can not leave me. Maybe I'm somewhere that they can't just have a werewolf in a circle for the rest of all eternity. Hopefully, I would be in Mummy or Daddy's cellar, so they would have to do something about me. Or maybe they are lying and have to release me for some reason. The spell will maybe run out of energy naturally and then let me go. I mean, if it was just walking away and leaving me, then that is the most straightforward answer. They're bluffing.
Well, I think that I would let me go. I could be very useful. In my human form, I can teach you how to pull women. I'm pretty good at getting laid as a human. What do you think?
The three of them again went into a bit of a huddle and started talking. It took some time, and I amused myself by directing my urine stream outside the circle and seeing it come in through the opposite wall and puddle on the floor. Wait a minute. The wee soaked away, so if I began digging...
we've had a chat, and we've decided that we don't want to let you out of the circle until we're many miles away. We are young, but we're not dumb. So we think this is the best course. I smiled at them. It was a very wise decision.
I do warn you though, I do have the best sense of smell that you could possibly imagine. I can smell you from a huge distance, so you guys will have to go a long, long way away for me not to find you. I could also lie and tell you that I'll not try to find you, but the likelihood is that I will, just for shits and giggles.
The huddle reformed and the discussion went on. Every now and again there would be a lull in the conversation and faces would be turned towards mine. The whispering stopped and one of the robes was pushed forward by the other members of the scary satanic circle.
Oh, so you werewolves are pretty unkillable then?
It was a statement, but brought out as a question. I smiled. They were either being superbly stupid in this line of questioning or incredibly intelligent.
I'm tough. Not impossible to kill, but you little fucks would be dead before you could do it.
I oozed confidence. The robe turned back to the crowd and the talking resumed. Eventually, the talking stopped.
Okay, some news to share with you. Now we are miles out of town. The building we are in is abandoned and it's an old home that no one will ever miss or ever come to. So we could just leave you here permanently. You may never be found.
I didn't like that. And Fen in the back of my mind did not like the idea of waiting here until some poor fucker found us, which they would eventually. I need to talk them out of this.
I would not like that, guys. If I did escape, then I would definitely come for you.
I smiled.
Well, that is good then, because we've decided to fill the cellar here with combustibles. You know, wood, petrol and other burny stuff. We're then going to set it on fire with electronics. Mick reckons he can do it with a phone. The problem is that your bubble will probably protect you from the fire for a bit. So we'll also have to release you from that when it's burning really well. Now we reckon it may not kill you, but it will do you significant mischief. We're going to sacrifice you to our Lord and Master Satan. Now you have to talk us out of it.
Well, that was a terrifying idea. I had to talk them out of this idea. The burning and stuff would not be good. I paused as though to contemplate my next step.
Okay, I have a better idea. I will teach you my control spell. I'm not supposed to give it away. Part of the problem with being a lycanthrope is that I have been born to be controlled, much as an attack dog for the unearthly. I can give you the spell that the ancient ones used to turn me into their bodyguard, and you can command me to leave you alone, and we can go in our separate directions. I will only give it to you, though, if you promise just to use it for this moment. You would just protect yourselves, and then let me go, wouldn't you? None of this having control of me and just using me for whatever you wanted to happen. Is that a deal?
This was too easy. These little self-centered, greedy little demonologist fucks had just been offered a werewolf to remote control. Of course they would leap on this and think they could control me. Every bully or situation that they'd felt picked on would now have a way to be solved. They could use me to murder and destroy, to get what they wanted. I waited for them to jump on this. They again got their heads together and whispered. It was a quick chat, and they turned around, all with big smiles on their face. Uncomfortable big smiles. The evil in those eyes was even shocking to me. I could see a new level of unhingedness. Oh, that's a word. The eyes were full of the flames of hell. I was unnerved and a little bit perturbed, which is an unheard of state of manner for an overconfident werewolf. The eyes all looked through me as one they said,
It's been decided to burn you and sacrifice you to Baphomet himself as a great treat. He will dine on both your souls and reward us in time for our donation.
Ah shit, this was not going to be fun. Let's see how the fuck I get out of this one.